Hi, we're John,
And Mike.
and we're the principals of Hatch Duo. Hatch Duo is an industrial design and product engineering studio, and we primarily work with hardware technology startups. And at the core, Hatch Duo started with myself and Mike.
John, can you believe it's been 5 years?
I actually can't believe it. It feels like not that long, but it also feels like it's been forever.
Time just flew past us.
Very large accomplishment for us. I mean, coming from how we started, I think it was just like the two of us starting in the living rooms in that apartment, and it's slowly grown to this great organization beyond ourselves, right?
John and I, we met each other at a company called Ubiquity Networks. He came in as an industrial designer, and at the time I was a mechanical engineer. I had no idea what industrial design was until, John kind of schooled me. And that's when I sort of I was still apprehensive.
He didn't like me when I first
I was a little apprehensive about industrial design. I thought it was just, people creating like pretty renderings, which, was fire. But I'll be honest, I didn't think those things that you designed were producible. But then again, I slowly learned and had appreciation for industrial design.
I reported directly to the CEO. I think it was my first week there, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to go work with Mike Yim." And I was like, "Who's Mike Yim?" He's like, "Oh, he's in the San Jose office. He's actually in the next room." Pinged him. We just started working together. I could tell it was probably his first time working with an industrial designer, because you could just see his frustration when I was doing venting patterns and things like that. Working through the friction, you kind of get a good feel for the two disciplines and the respect on both disciplines. And then also on a personal level, worked out together, ate lunch together, and then I think we slowly played Pokemon Go together.
Yeah.
And through that, we became really good friends.
Yeah, I think we kind of obsessed over Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
We would meet up after work, even during work, go to the cemetery, the parks.
We set up our own Pokemon gym, and we defended it. Through that, we discussed kind of what were their aspirations for after.
What would life be like outside and after Ubiquity for you?
Yeah.
I would notice John, he would wear different watches. For me, I don't have a big watch collection, but then John, he would have a wooden watch. He'd have this MVMT, and there was a cork one. What was the other design studio? Did you get that one?
Nixon or Nuka.
So I thought this guy had some pretty interesting watches. At the time, Kickstarter was blown up with a bunch of watch projects. After the idea of starting a watch company, we later realized that a lot of these Kickstarter projects were buying watches on Alibaba and then rebranding with the logos. The suppliers that we were trying to source from, they were trying to sell us those watches, the same watches. We were actually trying to find an ODM who can produce our watch that we designed. When
we quit our jobs, quote unquote, it's very stereotypical tech startup journey. Quit our jobs. I moved myself with my wife. My wife was pregnant at the time, right next to Mike. We would meet in the alleyway at night. Once our wives were asleep. We've obviously come a really long way from there, but just to think back on those times, I have a lot of fond memories. And even the struggles that we had during that time, it's pretty fun to think back on it.
For a whole year, we weren't ready to launch a watch because we didn't have inventory. So we were working on things shooting campaign video, marketing strategies with our marketing director. We were trying to get our factories in China to hurry and get us either prototype samples, prototypes.
Aggregate really was the seed to Hatch Duo, because we claim that we are a startup for startups, because we went through a lot of those founder struggles. We maxed out our credit cards just so we can get inventory for Aggregate. We understand the production struggles, the funding struggles, had great friends help us along the way. We started to understand how companies get started. Let's stop this door dashing thing. After we got funded from Aggregate, you would think hey, they got funded, there's money now. There was not enough money for the two of us to live in Silicon Valley, especially with a kid on the way. So Mike and I were we have to default back to our core skills, which was industrial design and mechanical engineering, and do what you gotta do, because I know your wife's pissed at you, my wife's pissed at me too. You go freelance, I'll go freelance, and then you just cover our expenses, and we'll still do this Aggregate thing, but we just gotta cover our living costs. The little freelance jobs that we did, it was tiny jobs, $5,000-$6,000 at a time. We would keep majority of that for our personal selves and our lives, right? And then we throw a little bit of that back in together into this joint pot where we would use to fund either, Aggregate's website costs or something like that, right? Like it was really scrappy. It kind of all changed when we went to HardwareCon, right? Like we went there and then I basically ran into an old friend / old client of mine who wasn't looking for industrial design this time. He was like, hey, do you know any mechanical engineers? I was like, actually, yeah, Mike, get over here. And made the introduction, and I think like the rest is history. That came at the same time as like another friend who referred business over to us, and we're like, hey, we could actually like start another business out of this. And so we did. How Hatch Duo was born. It wasn't really intentional, I would say. 5 years from now, like all of our staff probably listening, it's like, oh my God. But yeah, we were accidental firm owners. We did it by necessity because we needed to survive. And it just happened that like the skills, the people around us that we surrounded ourselves with kind of like elevated to this level.
Obviously the design awards, Red Dot, Spark, IDEA.
We're a design company, and what have we produced and all that stuff. And we've certainly done really cool products. It's the fact of like business organization. We actually have full-time staff. And if anyone's ever like started a company, sure, you can fundraise a bunch of $1 million and like I don't want to call it any startups names, but like they still don't turn a profit. But for us, like we were completely bootstrapped. We built this organization around our revenue and very disciplined margin management, and we were able to, within 5 years, we have full-time staff with benefits, health benefits, 401ks with matching, starting from our living rooms. I think that's a pretty huge accomplishment.
Yeah. So overall, you say like a compensation package for our employees, right?
Yeah.
We get holidays.
We force everyone to take 2.5 weeks off.
Yeah.
Even though we have an unlimited vacation, because some of them work so hard they just don't do it. People can criticize like a lot of small businesses for like how they do things and stuff, but when you're actually like putting your own money on the line, risking it all, and then you're able to like take care of people, that's very hard to do.
Not many design firms can say they can do is operate remotely.
Oh yeah.
We're fully remote, and we have a home-based office which is here in Sunnyvale, where we're filming, and we have personnel in the Midwest, in Pacific Northwest, all throughout the Bay Area, in Hawaii, in Thailand, Southern California.
We are minority owners in terms of our ethnicity, right? Like we're not the stereotypical what you see in the design world for design firm owners, and I think like it is a very competitive space, especially in the Bay Area. So like industrial design firms in general, it's a hard game to play in the United States, and furthermore hard in San Francisco Bay Area, right? Like where you have the top 10 firms of the world like residing here, and to be able to carve a space for ourselves, being Asian American, I think that's something to be said too, and I don't want to like downplay that. We don't celebrate anything, we just work them. Just kidding.
When budget allows, we fly, since we are distributed, we fly everyone in. Everyone from remote locations.
Get those mileage points, right?
We get the mileage points, and but the most recent event was the Stranger Things experience in San Francisco. So we flew everyone in for a few days.
Quarterly, we try to get everyone together as best we can. With remote work, it is a little tough to kind of have the water cooler bonding and just that impromptu happy hours. But every time we recruit like a new team member, I think that's always like an exciting thing too. So we always try to like go out to eat and stuff.
We have happy hour on Fridays through Zoom. For Christmas, we tried this thing called Gold Belly. We weren't sponsored or anything, but it's nice where you can try different dishes and they would send it to you by mail on Fridays, right?
Like you can get Franklin barbecue from Texas.
My role has evolved from an individual contributor, more of an organization manager, like all the financial accounting, legal contracts, as well as all the engineering projects that come through Hatch Duo's door. I try to manage all that. I do less engineering work now and more client management.
But you kind of do like engineering leadership too, right? Like you kind of guide the systems and processes.
Sometimes whenever there's like an overlap between industrial design and mechanical engineering, I do get involved there.
Yeah.
I do less of like the actual design work and CAD work.
Right.
I participate in like brainstorm sessions.
Alluding to what Mike was saying, like we did everything. Back in 2018 when we first started, I remember just being always exhausted because I had a little infant that Mike could help me take care. We would take client calls. I would do the ID work. I'd do the sketches, the CAD, CMF, everything, prototyping with Mike. We would sell the work as well. We'd go look for clients. And it was pretty exhausting, but it really gave us like the knowledgeable skills so that we could pass and hire the right people to help dissect that. And then they do it better than us. My role has moved from industrial designer, pure industrial designer, to now like design leadership. And I think the best description of that is like I evangelize the firm. We promote it, we get the word out that we exist. And overall just like the visionary. So I think we have a very cool visionary implementer dynamic. The design and engineering relationship hasn't changed. So before I would design a product, render it, he would then engineer it and get it to manufacturing. In a sense, we're doing that with the company now. We set a lot of visions for like where we want Hashduo to be in position. He'll be like, okay, how do we do it? With how much money? Who do we need? We have great people in the company, like great leaders, and but they'll still have problems here and there. And they'll come to us and be like, hey, like what would you do for this? And I'll be like, well, I don't know yet. What do you think? Right? And we'll kind of talk them through it and we'll coach them through that issue, and they'll be able to handle it. We wouldn't be able to grow our roles without the people.
Something I heard recently, which is learn, earn, and then return. Something we've been doing is returning. We've been speaking at college institutions. We try to inspire young designers who are about to graduate to become, possibly entrepreneurs of their own. Or this past quarter, I mentored like a small group of university students at San Jose State University. We also had Project Invent,
volunteering organization, nonprofit that helps young middle school to high school aged children who are people of color, right, being exposed to engineering, industrial design, and invention. It is generally, and it's gotten a lot better, but it is generally a pretty homogenous world in design at the top. Look at all the American design firms in America, which is admittedly very diverse. If you look at the heads of all the different principals of all the industrial design firms, a lot of them are pretty similar. How do you bring about change? Well, obviously we can do that within our own organization, but then there's programs like Project Invent where we can mentor and expose kids who are like us at one point in time to understand design. Really, it just stemmed from us having gone through Aggregate. Mike and I are serial entrepreneurs. We have other businesses. We understand business. We understand the struggles that come with being a new founder or a founder trying to raise their first Series A. We say that we are start for start because we can really empathize with our clients, and we can understand where they're coming from, and we can work with them. We can be a little flexible, and it's not just a transaction for us.
Startup, what that means is that I think we do understand what the pain points are for some of the clients that we work with.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, many of the clients that we work with.
Yeah.
Creative capital is something that we coined or kind of came up with. That kind of helped us create a portfolio of our own. So we have a small portfolio of small investments that we've made.
So if you don't have as much cash, and it's a startup and a deep technology that we believe in, we will sometimes portion what would have been cash and invest in kind to some of these startups. I think that's been really cool, and some of them have done really well. We're just ourselves. I don't think we go out like consciously trying to be like, hey, let's make ourselves differentiated here, here, and here. We are a little untraditional and unconventional. We started off as a remote team, right? And we continue to do that. We're never scared of new technologies. So while everyone's like panicking about AI and stuff, like our team's already using it.
Yeah.
Right. Generally try not to be so traditional about, hey, in the Bay Area, you get this huge stock package and that's the only way you can get good talent. Well, we try to do it in other ways, like, flexible time off. Design consultancy culture here, I would say, is a little different in terms of we're not always pulling all-nighters.
Yeah, I think like Hashduo itself has a personality of its own, right? We're a lot more approachable. We're friendly. We're kind of more down to earth.
Yeah.
You see us on in the media, in social media, and on YouTube, and I think this is how we are. We talk to everyone. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a well-funded startup or you're a solo entrepreneur or an inventor. Like, if you have an idea, you can come talk to us.
We have a very humble size studio, and we don't try to do the whole bells and whistles thing. We put a lot of that back into our staff instead. We will address things that we see. So for instance, like I don't believe in, we value time here, right? At Hatch. It goes back to our values. We value time here. We don't think that making our people stay up, night after night, doing all-nighters is really conducive to the culture we want here.
Yeah.
And good work, right? So
But there are times where we have to pull all-nighters.
Yeah.
That's not to say we don't do it at all.
Right.
We do, but there's a time and a place for it.
Right.
We go to CES, one of the biggest conventions.
That, make sure you go and click the little CES playlist and you can see a little bit of what we discovered in terms of trends and technology.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. We encourage our team to read a lot and to like go on blogs and you know, I always tell the ID team like they should be digesting interesting and inspiring content and reading up on trends and technology. We practice what we preach. So I try to read a lot every day about different technologies and trends, and the key word is trend, right? Like it's important to distinguish between things that are just fast fashion versus lasting and impactful technology.
Robin Healthcare, I think, is a really notable project. One of the earlier projects that John and I worked on personally. Probably the last project, I think, that he and I worked on.
There's no staff.
With no staff member.
It was just the literal duo.
It was a duo. I think that was a memorable one. You can see in the background behind us all the different iterations that we've gone through, and that final iteration at the very bottom right, it's still what's in production today.
Yeah.
We've gotten projects, augmented reality, mixed reality glasses, because of Third Eye Gen. Rise is another one. We've gotten other drone projects through prospects knowing about Rise.
Yeah. Like Firm tech, man. Like, oh man, I remember that story. Like April's like, okay guys, I got one for you. I don't know if you guys are gonna get mad at me, but can we talk? Like, and I was like, just type it out on Slack. She's like, no, we need to like talk in person. So we like got on a call, and she's like, so I have this like smart project, really cool. It's like a data company. You know, and it's with this really cool CEO who is like a doctor, and there's a lot of research behind it. And we're like, cool, let's do it. We're excited to take it on, and we kind of thought about it, like, man, is this gonna like give us some bad press or like taboo press? But ultimately, I think that was like one of the coolest projects. The solution that we ended up doing for it was like this patentable thing, and I think recently at CES it won like a Innovation Runner-Up Award.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the memories that came along with it, right? Like, we had visitors come in during that project.
Oh my
and God. The product wasn't displayed, but the apparatus for testing that product was on display attached to one of our whiteboards.
Some clients came to visit and we're like, and here's the workroom, and then they go in and there's a big on the whiteboard. The coolest thing is you zoom out and you're like, hey, we're getting paid to do this. It was hard process-wise. So firm tech, again, because of the subject matter, very intimate subject matter, right? And like, how do you do user research with that in a way where you avoid sexual harassment and all these HR violations, right? And Blake is one of our more conservative team members, who definitely, like, he doesn't find it funny. Like when we first got to it, he's like, oh my God, like, how am I going to do this? And I was like, hey, you're gonna have to find a method of research to like validate some of the prototypes and things in a way where, you know, people feel comfortable and you're actually getting accurate information. So I think navigating the user testing of that was very kind of a first.
From an engineering perspective, Rise was pretty challenging.
Yeah.
Most notably, I think the propeller guards, because not only did it have to function, it had to meet a specific payload.
Yeah.
We had to get it as light as possible, but also look iconic. If you look at it closely, it sort of has this lattice structure that resembles the inner of a bone marrow, or the innards. If you look under bone under a microscope, kind of has that skeletal, porous structure. That's sort of how we designed it.
We used Grasshopper and computational design to do that, and came up with iterations, and we'd plug it in, and then you guys would plug it into the weight. Like, no, that doesn't work. Do it again. Send it to you guys. No, it didn't work. Okay, do it again. Oh, but this one works. And then we would prototype it, and sure enough, like, after several trials, like, it would eventually fly. But I think, to Mike's point, like, that project was very challenging because it had to look good, it had to be usable, it had to function, it had to fly, right? Like if you can imagine, like, if you're just designing a desktop item, like, the challenges have its own, but you don't have to make that thing defy gravity.
If the propellers were in a certain frequency, or speed, then it would cause resonance or vibration throughout the entire drone. It's just managing that particular frequency.
A lot of engineering challenges to maintain the design intent, but we did win a red dot for that.
We did.
So
as AI machine learning evolves, I think we both think that if you don't adopt it or start using it, you'll be left behind.
Yeah. It's already in place currently is that we do augment our firm with a lot of automation, and every aspect of our business is augmented in some way. I'm encouraging all parts and facets of our business to really embrace that. We're slowly carving our space. We're getting the fun projects. We're getting deep tech stuff, which expansion-wise, we have very detailed plans for expansion, which I don't want to give too much away. Hatchduo is stealthily expanding in many areas and branches of our business. In the next 5 years, you'll see more technological advancement projects coming from us, things that you haven't seen before. That's not going to change, and because that part's not going to change, I think you're going to always see us at the forefront of new.
I think the one product that we want to work on for Hatchduo is a robotic project of some sort, whether it's a lawnmower, a window, high-rise window cleaner, or even maybe an electric boat or electric amphibious vehicle. It's new and exciting, and very few companies are doing it.
Churn is part of the journey, and churn is just like design iteration. You can always charge more.
Yeah. I would say get a mentor, talk to people who are in the industry, get a coach who can guide you. Otherwise, you're going to be learning and even probably failing and doing a lot of reading and a lot of trial and error. If you're okay with that, be sure to have the proper finances to back yourself.
Don't have a selfish mindset, because that will always fail. Like if you're just so worried about what you're going to get paid as an entrepreneur, you'll never be able to grow a team, and you'll never be able to really scale. I would also advise that if you do want to get into this business, you better be prepared to compete against us.
Yeah. Don't overthink it. I just do it, and it's okay if you make mistakes, and that's all I got for you. We have annual goals that break down to quarterly goals. So each year before year end, we set goals for ourselves for the next year, and we break those goals down for each quarter, what we will want to achieve. And so far, we've hit, I think we maybe missed maybe 20% of them that tend to carry over to the next year.
Mm-hmm. We've exceeded the main ones. To make it to 5, that's already a feat within itself. To get to the amount of revenue that we've gotten to, and profit margin that we've gotten to, I think is very hard to do within the first 5 years. On the design awards level, I would still like to get our name in there, and I feel like people are just starting to recognize us. We're kind of like the new kids on the block still, even though we've been around for 5 years. Get our name out there a little more, be included in some of those conversations. The outcome that you want is proportionate to the sacrifices you have to make. So what everyone sees right now, the external success of Hatchduo, I will say there are a lot of sacrifices that had to be made in order to get to this point. Entrepreneurship's just not for the faint of heart. So if you're gonna do it and do it well, you better be ready to sacrifice to get what you want.
I think sacrifice is a key word there, and being fluid. I think if plans don't work out or what you plan don't work out, you have to be ready to pivot. I think constantly having a growth mindset, immerse yourself in. Read. I think read, just consuming knowledge. Yeah, is a big part of it. So I'd say, read as much as you can. Yeah.
Your firm's growth is proportionate to the founder's growth too, right? So if we just said, hey, we're just going to be really good industrial designers and mechanical engineers, and we didn't try to learn about expertise in business and finance and things like that, I don't think we would have gotten Hatch to where it is today. Yeah. Lastly, just want to thank you for joining us and listening. I'd like to also thank my partner, Mike. I couldn't have gotten to this point without him. I mean, there's, again, just briefly, we were door dashing at one point, and now we're here. So couldn't have done it without him. The team as well, the great people who have stuck with us along the way, who have joined us now too. We just really couldn't have gotten here without you. And my family as well. My family really supported me through this journey, especially my wife, who stuck it through in those really hard times. And so we're just really blessed to be here.
Yeah. Likewise, like, John, he's kind of like John, my business partner, obviously. I can't thank him enough. Like, he not only pushes me, pushes our team to work hard and excel. But yeah, like, if it wasn't for John, I think this organization probably would fall to the ground. I want to thank all of our clients, obviously, that have supported us, believed in us. My family and obviously my wife, who has supported me through the years. We both support each other. She also has a business, so she really understands what it's like to operate a business and to sort of live at work. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
So one thing I'm really excited about is, we got through our 5 years. I'm really excited on the next 5 years and what the future has for Hatch Duo.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Let's hatch awesome.
Happy 5-year anniversary, Hatch Duo, to many more years of innovation and success.
Hey, John and Mike. Congratulations on 5 years. Wanted to say it's been amazing. I've had an outstanding time working with you guys and helping to create this company. Really appreciate you've created a place where we can be truly innovative, not just in product design and development, but who can design, where we design, how we design, and we're just keeping going, right? So really excellent. Thanks, guys.
Hi, John. Hi, Mike. Huge congratulations on the anniversary. Can't believe how far Hatch Duo has grown in just the last couple of years. And I so look forward to how much more we will be doing together in the many years to come. Again, congratulations.
Hi, John and Mike. Congratulations on Hatch Duo's 5th anniversary. I'm proud to be here with you as we continue to hatch awesome projects. I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of us. Congratulations again.
Hey guys, just wanted to say congrats on 5 years of being in business. That's quite an accomplishment, and I'm super proud of you and super proud to be a part of the team. Here's to 5 more.
Hello, John and Mike. Happy Hatch Duo 5 years anniversary. I'm really glad to be able to join this team at the 4th year and really excited for another great year. Thanks for all the teaching here at Hatch Duo, and let's hatch awesome.
Happy birthday, Hatch Duo. What an amazing accomplishment to make it to 5 years. Big congratulations to the entire team, especially John and Mike, for getting us this far. Truly grateful to be part of such an amazing team, and here's to 5 more.
Let's hatch awesome.